People always ask such great questions in my live Q&As. So for this time that I'm away, I thought that I would share with you a question from a community member and my response. I hope you find this beneficial. If you're new here, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. I had a pretty good week and still appreciate that so much. Then today was awful. Why can I not manage to overcome a bad day in the knowledge that there were good days before today? Great question. And something that I know everybody can relate to in some way, whether they would say the exact same thing to themselves or not. It's definitely something everybody can relate to. So there are two pieces to this. And one is that when you are in a process of growth and healing, you still believe on some level that you're unworthy, undeserving, or not enough to have those good days. Like you don't believe that you deserve to have those good days. And so when you have the good days, even when you can connect to them, it still feels kind of slippery, if that makes sense. If you imagine kind of being on ice and you can't really, like you can shuffle your feet, but at any moment your foot could slip and feel really unstable and maybe even fall. So when you're experiencing something good, something that feels good in the stages, particularly the early stages of healing, you don't feel really kind of rooted in the truth that there are good days, in the truth that you are able to have good days, that you can feel maybe more confident, you can allow connection, you can receive support, you can feel excited. You don't feel really rooted in that yet. So it's very fragile in a sense. So when you have a bad day, and that could mean a lot of different things. It could be literally a very bad day, or it could be a day that you're just feeling pretty bad. But either way, when you then have that, because that has taken root already, right? You've lived your entire life with that set of beliefs and that experience of feeling like most days are kind of bad, or not being able to really feel fully integrated or embodied in the good days. So then when a bad day happens, that feels like where you belong in a sense. It's a reminder, not truly a reminder, but a subconscious reminder that that's truly what you deserve. And then when you have that thought, conscious or not, but that thought becomes present, when you have that type of thought, then those old beliefs come right back up to the top, and you don't trust the good, which makes the bad feel even worse. The other thing that is part of that is that when you are in a growth, particularly healing process, you tend to mitigate disappointment by not allowing yourself to really open to the possibility that you can really feel better, that you can heal, that you can feel deserving, and all of those things. As you're going through the process and you start recognizing that there are times or days when you actually begin to believe that maybe that could be true, it feels good. It feels hopeful. It feels maybe inspiring, maybe exciting. Maybe you're allowing yourself to imagine that things really could be different, that you could feel different. You could feel that freedom. You could see the view from the summit. And anytime, there's a reason that we tend to not feel hopeful when we've particularly experienced trauma, because if we don't allow ourselves to feel hopeful, then when we have a bad day, or every day feels like a bad day, it's expected. We know what to do with it, even if it doesn't feel good, even though it can feel horrible. It's what we expect. It's what we know. When you begin to allow yourself to connect with some of those other feelings, to feel hopeful, to imagine something could be possible, Something different could be possible for you. You feel hope. You start allowing yourself to believe that maybe, even if not believe, just maybe it could be possible. It could be different. So you feel some of that lightness. And like I said, maybe even excitement. And then when you have a bad day and all those other beliefs come in that are reinforced, that you're not deserving or whatever, then when you've allowed yourself to feel hopeful, so if your normal place is here and you allow yourself to feel hopeful, you come up here. When you have the bad day, it's like you crash way down here. Well, if every day is here and you have a bad day, you don't really go down further because you were expecting a bad day. When you start feeling a little bit better and you have a bad day, because those thoughts come back, it feels like you crash way down. And notice I said it feels like you do. It doesn't mean you do, but it feels that way because you allowed yourself to have hope. So it's hard, you can't really hold on to the good days in those moments because they don't feel, because you tell yourself that they didn't really mean anything. You go back to the idea that it's not really possible for you to ever truly feel different because look, you had a few good days and now look where you're at. See, you can't ever really feel better. So you end up feeling even worse. So what you need to do then, or something that can be helpful then at that time, is remind yourself of basically what I was just saying, that process is normal, that having a bad day after having a few good days or a few good months even, that's normal. It's part of the process, which again is why the process of healing takes the time that it does, because we inevitably have to go through those ups and downs so that we can continue to strengthen the foundation, so that we can continue to practice when we're in those places that are particularly difficult. Because if everything's going good, you're not practicing pulling yourself out of the times that are difficult. So the difficult times are going to happen because you're still in the process. But each time that one of those times happens, you have then the opportunity to strengthen the foundation. But it is frustrating, for sure. Going back to the question about having good days and then that bad day that feels so bad and it's hard to hold on. It makes sense. It feels like the good days were something I stole that I wasn't meant to have, and the bad day is the consequence to that. That's a really powerful way of describing that. Yeah, so if that's what you believe, of course it's going to feel horrible, right? But that's not the truth. That is never the truth. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope that you found it helpful. If you have your own question that you'd like to ask, send it to qanda@courageousjourneys.com. That link will be below. And if you're interested in participating in live events, group experiences, healing experiences, or would just like to stay connected, make sure to sign up for my newsletter. That link will be below as well. Thanks so much for watching.